Hi and welcome to another video. This is Lauren and today I'm going to be walking you through the process of painting in acrylics a beautiful Butterfly Amaryllis flower. These are some flowers that my mom has in her garden, and she sent me these beautiful pictures of them in blooming and blossoming, and they're just super incredible. So I was really inspired to create this painting. It also has a special meaning to me because these are flowers that my gran had in her garden, and it's just a nice memory of her. So I wanted to create this painting and kind of walk you through each of the steps. I'm starting here on a sketch pad that has some really nice quality paper. It's quite thick. It's about 200 GSM and over. I'm not sure of exactly the type, but it's a really good solid sketch pad. So I'm using acrylics. I've painted this background, which is like a really nice green. It's got a bit of a metallic shimmer to it, but you can only really see that up close. And I'm starting with a flat brush and I'm painting all of the bases of the flower onto the paper. I'm using some light yellow, some white, and a bit of this really nice bright yellow. I'll show you a bit more in detail of the colors a little bit up close in a few minutes, but for now I'm just adding these details. These flowers are also known as the Hippiastrum papilio, which is quite a mouthful, but otherwise known as the Butterfly Amaryllis. Super beautiful. They have these petals which are sort of like this light yellow and then these bright red lines on the petals. There are 6 petals, and as you can see I'm adding now the bottom layer, using like the same technique to paint all of the petals. So yeah, I really like having the white sort of just to add a bit of that glow to these petals, and I'm having to do a few layers because I am painting this painting in layers, like having already painted my background. These are some acrylic paints and they're from a bunch of different brands and pretty good quality ones. So yeah, this is the beginning of my painting. Now that I've finished painting the first flower, I need to give that a little bit of time to dry. So I'm starting to work on my other 2 flowers, which are going to be a little bit smaller, but painting them using exactly the same techniques as I did the first flower, creating those layers, adding the whites, adding all the yellows. And the one flower will be facing forward, and then the other flower that's going to go next to it will be facing to the side. We can have a close-up look at the colors. I've got the white, I've got a light pink, I've got a red and a yellow, and I'm mixing the white with the yellow. I've also got some dark greens here and lots of different shades of green. So this is how it looks at this stage. It's the beginning, and I've let that dry a little bit before moving on to this next step, which is where I'm painting some of the stems and the leaves that are all around the Butterfly Amaryllis. So I'm now getting into all of my greens. I'm using the dark green on the outside and then a slightly lighter green on the inside. I'm also mixing it along the way with some white to sort of create a bit of variety in the colorings of the leaves. I think that adds quite a bit of interest to the painting, and I love doing that when I'm painting leaves. It's just using a bunch of different greens and sort of mixing up all of the colors in different places on the painting. I also want to show you up close this flat brush. I really recommend flat brushes. They are super amazing for painting all sorts of things. And now that I'm going to get onto the details of painting the amaryllis lines that are on the petals, I really need a thin, easy to use brush. So this is, I'm going very carefully with these red lines, and as you can see, just sort of putting a bit of color onto the brush and then dragging it very carefully and as smoothly as possible along those edge lines. These flat brushes are able to bend really nicely as you paint, so I love also using these flat brushes when I paint birds, because you're able to create that effect of feathers and blending of the colors really easily with these brushes. So definitely recommend. If you're interested, definitely check out my Instagram. It's Lauren Bata Art, and on there I have a lot of different paintings of the birds that I've done up close of their heads, and you can see how I use these brushes in motion to create those feathers. So I'm keeping going now with just outlining all of these petals, and yeah, I really like how the contrast of this red is against the yellow. It's quite a deep red, but it shows up really nicely on the yellow. For this part of the process, I'm adding a little bit of green onto the inside of these Butterfly Amaryllis. I'm using this light green, and this will sort of blend. You won't really see this too much once I start painting the red, but the flowers do have this kind of greeny shade in the middle, so I'm trying to add that here with this green. After letting my green dry for a bit, I'm now taking my red as well as this flat paintbrush and adding all of the patterning that goes in the inside of these petals. There's some really intricate line detailing, and this flat brush really helps to create that effect. As you can see, you can pull the brush back and forward and it leaves like a really nice line. So I'm going to keep doing that and adding all of that to each of the petals, as well as the 2 flowers that are at the back. And this is the final painting of the Butterfly Amaryllis Flowers. I'm now going to be taking this paper out of my sketch pad and I'm going to add it to a frame. So I wanted to include that process in the video as well. I put this painting up in my house. So I had this A4 frame. It's not exactly the same size as the paper. This artwork might work a little bit better in a bigger frame. But for now, I've got this A4 frame and placing it in there, and you'll get to see how it looks as a framed picture. I think it turned out really well. I'm so excited about this painting and I really love these flowers, and it's nice to have this memory of my grand's flowers, and every time I look at it I think of her. So this is the final painting framed, and it's a little bit reflection-y with all the windows in the background, but I think it turned out really fun. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you are inspired to create some flower paintings yourself, and I'll see you again for another video soon.